Hello, this is Heather. We're at Lake Park in Milwaukee, and we're going to be doing some landscape painting with watercolor paints. So we're going to start today by looking at our subject, which is the Lake Michigan, and we're at St. Mary's Hill, so we have some really interesting perspectives since we're up on a bluff looking down. We have almost like an aerial view, and we're going to start with the background. So what I would like you to do is get out your paints. I would start with a blue, maybe cerulean or ultramarine, and load up your brush with paint. Load it up with paint. Go to the very top of your painting, and then you're gonna pull with clean water. So you might want to also have a tissue near you to wipe that off, all right? And then get your paint off. Get the paint off the brush, please, and then you're gonna keep pulling, and I would all the way down to the bottom. This is called a gradation in watercolor, and you might want to have this at a slight angle, about 45 degrees or 35 degrees. Do you see I'm pulling it now with just water all the way down to the bottom? And then when you get to the bottom, you might want to take your tissue and wipe that off. So that we're gonna let that dry for just a few moments. Luckily it's a very sunny day, so that's gonna dry quickly. Okay, so the other thing is to remember the magic crayon, which are white, so you can't see it when it's on the white paper. But I'm gonna go into my foreground and I'm gonna add these grasses. So right now you can't see that, but when I get my green out, it's gonna be like magic. Right, and then so here we have some really interesting lines with the road, right? It kind of curves in the front, going down St. Mary's Hill, and then there's a straight line for Lake Drive. So I'm just going back into it with my crayon. Normally you would do the crayon first, but as long as it's not too wet, this is gonna work. All right, so then we're gonna go into a little green for the foreground. But please make sure to use your crayon to define the areas of the foreground and the different areas there. So then I'm going to go in with the green and do the foreground. So I'm just getting like the basic outline. And today the water is so blue. Alicia and I, we went for a walk earlier this week, and we noticed that water was brown. So it's really interesting. This water is constantly changing color. All right, so I'm gonna leave it there for a few moments. So there we have background and the foreground.
That's too much water.
In the meantime, I could show you that this is working with the pencils. With these are watercolor pencils, and they literally have water in the pencil. So, for instance, with the sky, let's move over so they can see. Okay, so for the sky, I'm gonna lay down some basic clouds, and then go into that with the paint, and it instantly the color pencil, what looks like color pencil, it turns to paint. So that's a very fun technique. The other thing I want you to know about is to take your okay, so I think we're ready for another wash. So a wash is that you're loading up your brush with paint, whichever color you like, and we're gonna again pull it. So then it's okay. So our sky, it's kind of, I don't know, what would you call that sky today?
Wispy.
It's wispy. Okay, yeah, it definitely is a wispy. So I'm gonna go in there with some more blue, and now I'm gonna pull it out in a wispy kind of way.
Perfect.
So did you see that? Isn't that fun? So you can,
Yeah. Great.
yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, so you.
Very good.
Okay, so that's what. If you'd like to try that next,
Okay, I have to get up
load
back
up your
into
brush,
the
and
blue.
then make sure
Okay.
your tissue is kind of like not too tight into a ball, but maybe have it be wispy in the edges.
Okay, hang on.
So, and then you can turn it while you're pulling that paint out of there. So that's a really nice way to get clouds. And then also, it's important to start light and then go darker and darker. So, I should have said that before, but let's try that again. Okay, so here I'm going to lay down a blue wash and take the tissue and pull out the clouds. That's like almost like a
That's gorgeous.
storm, huh?
Oh,
Stormy?
yeah, that's really good, but I'm still on the water here. Okay, so now I
Oh yeah. Oh, these are looking gorgeous.
I don't know.
And you can
Okay,
see
hang on.
my
No,
friends are
let's just
painting
see.
with me today.
This is so exciting. So, now I want a paler.
And this is a fun thing while we're waiting for that paint to dry. I wanted to show you bubble painting. This is a technique that we use a lot in kindergarten, but you can use it to make it look like.
I'm happy. I'm a kindergartner today, right now.
So here we have dish soap and paint. And what you do is you blow in.
Oh, Heather. Oh my gosh.
And those bubbles, when they dry, are gonna create a water effect. But the only thing is that we got wind here to work with. So at home, what you want to do is just let them dry on here, and you're gonna get the it's gonna look like bubbles on your paper. So that takes a couple minutes because you gotta let that dry. But that's how you build up washes, right? It's kind of, you have to be a little bit messy at first, and then you go in with your details. So ultimately, they say that watercolor takes a lot of patience. It's because of the drying time between washes that takes patience. So you would maybe go do the dishes or read a book or something and then come back to it. But look at there, isn't that beautiful? So we got the foreground, the middle ground, and the background almost by accident with those bubbles. How are you all doing?
Oh, good. I'm still stuck on my sky.
Oh yeah, I would just keep going into it with your tissue, and then layers. Also, what other colors are you seeing today? What colors besides the blue? It's a lot of blue, isn't it? But that horizon is like a very straight
Yeah, that's what I'm really.
line.
Yeah.
It's a very
Yeah.
straight line, and it's such a
Right?
demarcation from
Yeah.
the sky that's so light and fluffy. So,
What would you call that color where the horizon is? It's almost. Is it like
It's
just?
almost turning purple, isn't it?
Let's try purple. That
Yeah,
would be
I wanna put some
gorgeous.
purple in
Okay,
there.
let's do purple. Let's see if we got some purple going here. You could use, yeah. Let's see. Okay. So